Welcome to the Pink Persuader on mental health, podcast exploring mental health through honest conversations and lived insights. Hello and welcome to the Pink Persuader on mental health. This is episode 3 of this podcast, and I am welcoming you all along with my very first guest to this podcast, my best friend of about 17 years, and double amputee, mental health sufferer, Mr. Denn Leavy. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no.
Thank you for letting me be the first guest.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, to me, it was a really important conversation to have, because I think you are someone that I've known to have mental health issues most of your life.
Yeah.
Like myself, you suffer with ADHD and autism.
Yeah.
And then obviously to lose your legs.
Yeah.
You know, that's just compiles everything, doesn't it?
Cherry on the top.
Yeah. So obviously I know your journey, but a lot of these people that are listening probably don't know your journey. So can you sort of share with us like your personal journey and what led to your amputation of both your legs?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm happy to kind of share it as as I can remember it.
Of course, man. There was a lot of trauma that day, so it's like I can understand.
It's big impact on my life, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So basically, I used to work at National Grid, like HQ. I was a cleaner. One evening, I finished a shift. I went to see some friends after work. Left there was about 8:15, and about 8:30 it was about half a mile away from home, and unfortunately I got hit by a car. The interesting thing is I was on the pavement as a pedestrian, in an area where, in quite a residential area, and unfortunately no one saw it, but yeah, the car kind of spun across the pavement and caught me between the front of the car and a wall. And basically, long story short, it twisted one of my legs off, and really kind of badly damaged the other one, pulled the skin kind of, halfway down my shin bone, down to my ankle.
Yeah, and I've heard this. I've heard this
You've heard a lot of
and
this,
I know exactly what's happened.
You still look shocked.
And this is the thing, I think whenever I have conversations, I say that my best friend is a double amputee. Most people's mind goes straight to motorbike crash or something like
that. Army.
Yeah,
that's
or army.
A lot.
Yeah.
In public, and people be like, "Are you in the army?"
Yeah.
No.
No.
I'm almost disappointed to say no sometimes.
I was just walking down the street in the pool.
Absolutely nothing particularly fun or like.
Yeah. But so then obviously, air ambulance pretty much saved your life that day, didn't they?
And the Coast Guard as well. I think it was the Coast Guard helicopter I went in, but
right.
But I think they did try and take me in the ambulance first. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a bit funky on that one, but
you were saved by the air. Like,
I mean, they were all involved.
Yeah.
Every emergency service was pretty much involved in that you can think of. Ambulance turned up pretty quick, to be fair. I mean, not that my sense of time at that point was like, because I was still conscious after the accident. So there's just a lot of things that I don't remember that I would like to remember, but of course all the stuff that I do remember is kind of not necessarily things you want to remember.
Yeah, and you then spent a lot of time in hospital afterwards, didn't you?
6 weeks in hospital.
Yeah,
which I think, in all fairness, for what happened to me, maybe 2 or 3 surgeries in that time.
Yeah.
Spent the first 2 days in a coma, like a medically induced coma.
Yeah.
And then was moved down to a ward and spent 4 weeks at Derriford, which I must say, the food there is bloody awful. It's just absolute what? Like, here, we want you to get better, but eat this.
Yeah.
It's basically made from cardboard. The staff are really good.
Just lost my legs. Give me something decent to
I
eat.
just want a proper pasta and be like putting bloody, bloody carrots in it or whatever.
Yeah.
What's this? Yeah, 4 weeks in Thereford and then was it 2 week, two and a bit week
Yeah.
of Trelisk, which just much
The
better.
thing is, when you finally come to Trellis, that's when I finally was able to visit you, and
Brought the kids as well.
yeah, like the kids come to see you for the first time, and
I needed
yeah, oh yeah, I can imagine, like you're their godfather and everything, and
that. And
I
he
can
had to
still,
push it, didn't he?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So like my young son, who was probably about 2 or 3 at the time, he was like he had to push you in the wheelchair, didn't he? And yeah, I've still got the video of that, and it's absolutely amazing. But
Bless him.
yeah, so I imagine, I mean, I know, but like a lot of this has given you a lot of trauma, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. CPTSD for sure.
yeah, and you've actually now been diagnosed with PTSD, haven't you?
Yes.
But do you? I mean, personally, do you think you had PTSD beforehand, or is that the main contributing factor to
I mean,
your PTSD diagnosis?
I've been probably through some things growing up that maybe would warrant me saying yes that I probably did have PTSD before, although I wasn't suffering at a level that is comparable to now
Yeah,
by any stretch. Life's been hard from in mentally from about 18 for me.
yeah,
19. I think my chronic depression started around then,
yeah,
and whether that's linked to pre-existing PTSD or whether that's just like I start feeling that way.
yeah. And
Some of it's
well,
environmental too.
yeah, and as well, you are
Autism, that
autistic
make
and
you feel quite isolated.
yeah,
Even though you want to be isolated, but then you don't. You want people here, but sometimes you just like I want people here, but I don't want them to be near me.
yeah,
And you just think,
yeah.
there's no way you can say that to people, is there, without sounding rude?
It's that link of having ADHD and autism. The ADHD wants to be around people and it wants to have fun and do things with people, and then you've got the autism that like is being antisocial and not wanting to be around people at all.
Yeah.
And I get that battle. I mean, I have that same.
We're the same.
Like,
aren't we?
oh yeah, like
we're identical.
yeah, yeah. There's probably a reason we've been friends for 16 years and not fallen out in that
Probably
16, 17
other.
years. Oh yeah, no, we forget each other exists for years at a time.
Oh yeah, Dan exists. Come around the corner one day and just be, oh yeah, there's my best friend of nearly 20 years.
Yeah, yeah, that's what
somewhere.
I forgot to give him my new phone number, so he thought I died. Trying to phone you for 2 days.
Supposed to be there as well. How dare you?
Oh dear. So, personally, from your point of view, how do you think becoming an amputee has like really affected your mental health? Obviously, there's the obvious, dealing with not being able to walk properly and everything like that. But how has that then developed your how you struggle with your mental health differently to how you were before?
It's interesting because there's aspects that since my amputations, there's aspects of my mental health which have skyrocketed. Like my resilience. I think is probably what's grown through this.
Oh, mate, you're like the most resilient motherfucker I know. Honestly, like, I've witnessed the whole journey, and the way you've come through it, like, it would have broken most people. I think it would have broken me. Like,
maybe.
But you've done absolutely amazing.
It's hard to say, isn't it? It's hard to say, but I knew that from the beginning I was going to have some level of bounce back if I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Some of it's a natural mindset, being ADHD. You know for well yourself. Like, no for an answer is difficult a lot. So it's like when doctors say, "you'll probably never walk again." I'm like, F you, I'm gonna walk again.
Bitch, please, I'm gonna fucking walk.
I'm gonna do it. And it's like, and it's not necessarily like rebellion or anything. It's just that it's like I know what I'm capable of and what I'm not pretty well,
Yeah.
and I think that's another way it's affected. But I mean, there's always a flip side, of course, and it's like, I mean, personal relationships are harder now. Uh, like they did say back at the beginning, I had a few assessments on how things might be for me in the future, and he said because you already have chronic depression, there's a good chance it's going to get worse and worse and worse
Yeah.
and not stop getting worse,
And
and
this
like
is,
that's what's happening.
yeah.
So that is the worst and the most scary part of the whole thing,
Mm.
is that like I didn't at the beginning think it was going to get this bad because I've always been able to cope.
Yeah.
But then it has actually got to a stage back around Christmas of last year when it was really really bad, and thinking about suicide, and
Yeah.
having thoughts about driving my car off Howe's Mouth and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's just to be honest.
Yeah, and I
It
think
does
we've got to
happen.
be honest about
Yeah.
those times, because actually it's a big part. And um, you know, as one of your best friends, I didn't, you, you didn't want to talk to anyone about it, did you? Like, um, and I think it was months later that we finally, you were finally talking to me about it, and
Yeah.
we've done a lot over the last few months, haven't we, to try and improve both of our mental healths, because actually, we both have our struggles with it, and it is up and down, and
You've been through some things too recently, haven't you?
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's been
there's been a lot.
a display of resilience from both of us,
Yeah, like,
and same with you as well.
yeah, I mean, over the time, it's been, you know, what, 5 years ago, your accident?
Four
4 years.
feels
4 years ago.
feels like 100.
So 4 years ago, you had your
Yeah,
accident. I genuinely thought I'd lost my best friend the day your dad sent me a message to say what had happened, or phoned me. I can't even remember if he phoned me or messaged me.
I can't imagine that.
No, I can't. I
I
can't
can't
even.
imagine that. I
No,
can't imagine what it was.
like,
I know that my parents had to phone a whole bunch of people,
yeah,
and I do know that quite a lot of people were upset, but they didn't tell me how many people they phoned, or who they phoned, just that they did. And people were upset, but
yeah,
hearing about that is definitely
yeah. Like, genuinely, at that time, I thought I was going to lose
yes.
my best friend,
Yeah,
and then obviously you got better, which is, and you're still here. Like, we're still doing things together. We're being able to do this podcast, which is
yeah,
like a big thing. It's my baby at the minute, and it's great to be able to share that with you. And then obviously it was mustered out 6 weeks ago or so, 5 6 weeks ago. I then got told that a friend of mine had been taken into hospital.
yeah. Mm.
Um, well, obviously you met him as well, so
Yeah, briefly.
yeah,
Good.
and yeah, he was a lovely
Nice.
chap, and unfortunately he lost his battle with his illness, and that's been tough on me. Do you know what I mean? Like, actually,
Right.
yeah, like, that's brought my depression and anxiety back up a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's been a struggle. Like, so, it is one of those things, and I think some of that is actually some of the trauma of, like, what it was like when you went into hospital. Like, that was a bit of
Blimey.
a stark reminder, in a way, because, like, I never thought I'd
Yeah.
have to really deal with that
I didn't
again.
even think about that element
Yeah,
of it really. It's just because I just kind of thought to myself, you knew him really well,
yeah, yeah,
better than I did. And I met the fella once, and
yeah,
he made a really lasting impression on me,
yeah,
for sure. So I can only imagine. But the thing is like, over the last since his passing, like, you have kept your head up,
I've,
and
just about, yeah. I had a lot of support from AJ. Um, my workmates have been really brilliant. Really understanding. So yeah, and that's always the help. Yeah, and having man down, like, man down is, like, for me, is
yeah,
um, it's one of those things. Like, I've been able to talk about it, which is good. Like, that's been really helpful. But yeah, no, it's been one of those. It's just we had the funeral last week, so it's like that's part of the recovery process, I think, as
of
well.
course,
Sometimes,
yeah, it's part of healing, isn't it?
um, you know, So it has been. It's been a process, but
Yeah.
it's definitely getting there. But yeah, it's one of those, and it's sort of like I think actually it's doing this like today like with my best friend like it's one of those things that's it's a real positive for me,
Yeah.
which is like it's one of those days where it's like yes something good.
Brings
Do
you
you know
back
what I
some
mean?
energy to your life, I
Yeah,
think, doesn't it?
yeah.
It gives you something to look forward to. Like, I'm looking forward to hearing this. As I just quickly talking about Man Down,
Hmm.
as I started going a couple months ago, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
A
About
month
six
ago.
6 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I've missed a few here and there, just due to things
Hmm.
and what have you. But the sessions I've attended have certainly helped, and it's like even if it's just the fact that I've got out for the evening with my friend, like
Yeah,
there's times where that's like really really helpful.
yeah,
But just the camaraderie of the place, and like you do go there expecting to feel like people was looking at you because you're new, and like da la
yeah,
la, and will people really listen and accept what I say?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
And
But
as
it but
well,
it but it really
yeah,
is like
yeah.
that, and it's
And
like
you've got the added thing of
awesome.
walking in somewhere on two prosthetic legs,
Yeah.
and thinking, oh, are people going to judge me for that?
Right. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like I think it was one like my it was a really proud moment for me the day that you came to Man Down and you shared, and like it was really, I was really proud that you did that, and I was really proud of you. It was like a really proud moment that I managed to finally get you to come because
Yeah.
it's been a conversation for a long time, hasn't
Over a
it?
year, I
Yeah,
think you were
yeah.
trying to get me in there, and I'm like, oh no, I don't talk about my feelings. Go away. I'm 13 in my head. Like
Yeah,
that's my problem. I was
that's
just
what we
like
are. I think sometimes we are a bit like that,
Kevin from Kevin. I'm not your slave.
But I still do it like now,
Yeah.
and I class myself as a mental health advocate, someone that understands mental health, someone who advises people, talks to people online.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we I advise people through this podcast and all sorts of stuff like that, and it's like still few weeks ago I was really struggling. I had a few drinks, went on TikTok. I was live on TikTok,
Yeah.
going, yeah, yeah, I'm fine, like holding back tears. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, do you know what? Actually, it took AJ turning around to me and going, Dan, you've been a hypocrite doing that. Like, because actually,
Well, yeah.
you know, you want people to talk. You're encouraging people to talk, but actually, then you're doing the complete opposite. You're bottling it up and hiding it from everyone else, and actually you're not fine, so own it. And actually I was like, yeah, the Pink Persuader needs to,
Right.
like, this is,
Your motto, isn't
yeah,
it? Well, it's not motto, but
yeah,
it's your
yeah, it's part of
your
my ethos is like
ethos. That's
actually,
the word. Yeah.
yeah, like talking about things and sharing and being open with things.
Yeah.
It's like it's all part of what I believe is a big help with mental health. And yeah, I will admit when I start struggling, then I do forget that sometimes myself,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is the good reminder of having Man Down every 2 weeks, because actually then it's like, yeah, I'm in the place where I need to talk about this.
Yeah.
But what's brilliant is that over like the last few weeks where I've taken a bit of a break from social media at times. I had that one life where I went a bit crazy, and all my followers have been absolutely amazing. Like, people have sent me messages going like, we're behind you whether you're here or not. You don't need to rush back for us.
You got a great community.
The community is
Brilliant
fantastic.
community.
Like, I can't fault them.
Yeah.
Like the likes of, they won't mind me mentioning, Mel, Damo, Azeria, Fox. Um, I'm trying to remember everyone now. I've put myself on the spot. AJ's part of the community as well, which is brilliant. Like, she
Yeah.
comes in and talks with everyone, and keeps me in line most of the time, because I'm like, yeah, my ADHD brain goes off on tangents. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but like I've got some really awesome followers.
Yeah.
In the time since the last podcast, I've run the Plymouth Half Marathon as well.
You did. Yeah.
Azeria, who is one of my TikTok followers, um, actually travelled all the way down from Nottingham to come and support me during that.
That's insane.
Like, we'd never met in person, literally come all the way down. which is absolutely awesome. You know, so it's been a hell of a journey. Like this last few weeks, honestly, but it's it's getting there in a way. I think I'm still not 100%. I know that. I probably won't be 100% for a little while, but
Can't expect that, can you?
no, exactly. So but I'm gonna keep being the Pink Persuader because being the Pink Persuader helps. Do you know what I mean? It really keeps me going. I enjoy it and have a lot of fun with it and try and help people as much as I can. And in that sense, it helps me.
Yeah. What would you be doing otherwise? I mean, just working.
Yeah,
There's
pretty much.
nothing wrong with that, but I know you well enough to know that you're not happy with that.
Yeah,
I know you well enough to know that you have to have something else on the go, to do at least.
I don't have any hobbies like that, like TikTok and doing this podcast. These are my hobbies. Do you know what I mean? And I really enjoy that.
Hobbies.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, it is important.
Hobbies is important for people with depression.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
If you ain't got a hobby that you can crack on with. I mean, I think that applies doubly to people with autism, ADHD, and both. But it's like I just got back into cameras and film cameras and things. And
I think that's important. Like for you especially, like you need to get out and about and do things, don't you?
That's definitely a big help that as well. Yeah.
And like obviously music's a big one for you as well, isn't it? Like
musician of 20 odd years or something.
Yeah.
I think couple decades worth of playing guitar for sure.
Yeah. And you're good at it, and you enjoy the process, don't you?
Okay, I'm alright at it. Are you okay?
Yeah.
I feel right. I'm at a point of it where I can't say to people anymore that I'm shit.
Yeah. No, you can't.
It's a po-faced lie.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm not like Steve Vai or nothing.
No, but
I can play guitar well enough to entertain myself and other people.
Yeah, and
I'm happy with that.
I've been a huge fan of yours since we were at college together. Anyway,
I did the rock and roll thing anyway.
Yeah.
Been in bands and I think I'll always miss that. I'll miss that. That's one aspect of my life that it took away. That I think it's probably, as much as I don't want it to be, maybe it's gone. It's gone in the sense that it was then. I can still play music.
Yeah, you're not gonna be running around the stage like a lunatic and doing flinging your guitar around your neck and stuff like that.
And just the thought of doing it all from like the wheelchair and the prosthetics is not. It's like daily life. Unfortunately, these days is like hellishly tiring.
Yeah,
wheelchair usage is about as knackering as you can imagine, and prosthetics are even worse.
Yeah, I've seen the journey. Like I've been there. I've watched you trying to. Yeah, I've seen you nearly fall. I've caught you when you've nearly fallen.
Probably have, to be fair, at some point.
Yeah.
Bungled me into a car.
I bundled you into a car. Yeah, scared the living daylights out of people. Because
what the hell are you doing, man?
Well, you told me to grab hold of a stump and shove you in. I won't repeat the words that I said because that probably would get me back. He was not offended, by the way. We deal with a lot of the trauma that we've had from that accident with humour, don't we?
We do.
We take the piss out of each other. We probably say things that people don't think we should say.
Oh, definitely.
I made a comment the other day actually, after you lent me the van, and I called it the mobile that we call it, and
I know exactly what you're referring to.
And I said it in front of one of my colleagues, and they're like, you can't say that. And I was like, well, I can. It's my best friend.
I was going to say, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't go up to a random disabled person and talk to them the way I talk to you.
No, of course not. No.
But we've built this over a friendship of 17 years.
You're allowed to.
I can just about say things.
We've been mashing on each other
since we were 16.
I was going to say for however long we've been friends.
Yeah,
mashing on each other like in a fun, loving way. Like,
100%. Like it's that banter, isn't it?
Big old Dan with a big old belly.
Hey,
he quit they beers, he's still got belly.
Yeah. Hey, it's bought and paid for. I'm not getting rid of it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm tight as it is, mate.
You can keep it until you pay for it. He's got a belly on
But
finance.
but this is the thing, like, yeah, people look at me and they judge. I think you get that as well, don't you?
Oh yeah,
you do.
in town.
Like, I get it because of my appearance, like coloured hair, piercings, head tattoos, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You get it for obviously being an amputee. How does that actually feel like for you? Because that, like, I choose to be like this, so
Yeah,
people
sure.
judging me as a bit of a, like,
Like, okay, that's fine. Like,
yeah,
you can rest on the laurel of being like, well, I've chose this.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like for you, this wasn't a choice for you,
Yeah,
you know, like, but you do get a lot of like people looking,
yeah.
judging probably.
People assume my ability levels,
Mm.
which I think is what upsets me the most.
Yeah,
I've said this from the very beginning, is that um, people be like, doing things that like preemptively do things to try and be like, oh, you're disabled, so you probably can't do this, and so or people just want to help, and it's just like, but the thing is, like, I don't necessarily really want the help. But I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of disabled people, and the thing is, not problem. The thing is that there's a lot of disabled people out there who won't ask for help, who will just kind of, look around until someone offers to help, which is fair. Like, it's difficult, and it can feel embarrassing. I
yeah,
think that's the thing. It can feel embarrassing to be going down the road, and like every other person is looking at your legs, or you being in a wheelchair, and you just think, like, it makes you feel like a freak,
yeah.
like an outcast. And it's like, the thing is, if I had normal legs, you wouldn't even recognise my existence.
Thing is, as well,
I would be nobody.
yeah, I
But
think
for some reason, like, having no legs makes me somebody in people's eyes, and that's what's confusing about it.
yeah,
People want to know me, but only want to know me because they want to know about my story.
yeah,
And then after that, people are, oh, right, cool, and then they go.
yeah,
It's like, I've actually have now stopped replying to people in that sense. Like, if random people come up to me, I don't care how polite they are. The answer is no. You're not hearing the story. I've told it enough over the last 4 times.
yeah.
Over the last 4 years, I've told it enough times.
What you can do now,
to
if someone comes up to you and goes, "What's your story?" You tell them, "Go and listen to the Pink Persuader on mental health."
yeah, that's it. Oh, that's it. You sold it. Nice.
I've now got rights to the story.
That's it. Yeah, I know. Or Apple will.
But yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Like, I mean, I've helped. Like, even when I've offered to help you, you struggle to let me help, don't you? And I'm your friend of years.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think I remember the first time you came around to my house after the accident.
Yeah.
You had no prosthetics.
Yeah.
You literally just had a wheelchair that really didn't.
Not even this one.
No, it wasn't even light, was
Not
it? It was
even
quite
yeah.
light. And what was it? You used to bum shuffle up the stairs, didn't you? You used to lift yourself up the stairs on your
Oh my god.
hands, and and then you get to the top of the stairs. I had to lift you back into the wheelchair at that point as well, didn't I?
Did.
Like,
Yep.
and I mean, to be fair, I'll do it again. Do you know what I mean?
I know you would. I know.
Like, doesn't bother me at all. But how did that, like, for you? How did that feel? 'Cause I don't think I've ever asked you how that felt. Like,
Yeah,
we've had
that's a really
conversations
good
about
point,
it, but
actually, yeah. I mean, in a sense, it's like, I think it's nice because, like, there's an element of like, well, you know, my best friend, my brother, he cares enough for me to not have, you don't feel any embarrassment about it,
no,
but I do,
yeah,
or I did, not now.
yeah,
But at the time, it did feel like a bit embarrassing
Hmm.
because it's just like, I I'm having to have, not by my choice, having to have someone else manhandle me
yeah.
in a way that particularly I don't want.
And I
Realistically,
I
that
we
you
didn't
don't
do it in
want
in the
to
best way
do
either.
it anyway. But it's not like you're like eager to
Oh no,
freaking do it. You're not like, oh yeah,
it's not
let
like
me get
midget
my hands
muffin,
on
is
your
it?
teddies, man. You know.
Yeah,
So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, and I don't mean it embarrassing in the sense of like, shameful or whatever.
No.
But in the sense of like, that is how it just the feeling that came up. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not. I don't know. I'm not connected to that feeling though, if that makes sense.
I think
Like,
that's a completely valid feeling though.
yeah.
100% is a valid feeling that actually, you know, you had to be chucked around by your best mate,
Yeah.
and you know, actually, yeah, I can imagine it probably was a bit like, oh Jesus, I just wish I could do this myself.
Embarrassing might be the wrong word. Like, but then I don't want to say degrading, because I think degrading is too strong of a word. But like maybe dehumanizing. I think
Yeah,
that's probably the best way of putting it. I didn't feel human at that point. I felt like something else.
yeah,
When, and especially like felt like that in hospital before, like pre
yeah. I
prosthetics.
bet.
But and the thing is now, like I don't actually use my prosthetics a great deal anymore.
No, because that was like the big thing as well, wasn't it? We were like when we first started talking, like the be all and end all was getting the prosthetics
Yeah,
and being able to do more. But actually, I think that's sort of developed over time. Of actually, they're a handy aid.
they allow me to do things that other wheelchair users can't,
Yeah,
because I can, if that makes sense. But I've developed a way of living from a wheelchair that works for me.
yeah,
I still got one good knee, so I kind of use that. I improved my balance
yeah.
quite a bit recently. Kneel up on my knee and push, get up into the wheelchair. Um, I don't do things the standard disabled way.
Yeah.
And people be like, oh, why do you make it harder for yourself? Well, yeah, no, it does make it hard for me, and that is correct.
Yeah.
But like, there's an element of like, if you make things easy for me, oh, you're essentially giving a lazy man a way to be lazier.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
No.
Quite frankly, like if you leave it to me, I'll just fucking do nothing every day. So that there's an element of life as well that I think you probably know a bit about as well, as like procrastination.
Oh yeah. That that
I
that
procrastinate. I honestly
that.
hit myself on the
Yeah.
freaking head with a hammer, like sometimes with the amount of frustration I feel over it. It's just like, I want to do this. I can do it. I got the finance. I got the patience. I got the skills. I got whatever. And you just sit there and it's like,
There's no reason
but I'm not
why
going to do
for
it
it though,
today.
is there? Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no reasoning for it, is
yeah,
there?
so I'll do it
It's
tomorrow. And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you won't do it tomorrow. You might as well just do it today.
yeah. I get
Makes
it.
sense, doesn't it?
It's like it's a big thing with ADHD though, isn't it?
Oh,
Like it's
massively.
that freezing and like that. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, paralysis
Paralysis,
that you
yeah.
get.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
cool, yeah.
where you want to be
Choice
doing
paralysis, I
things.
think they call it, or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people, I think it's a big misconception with ADHD especially, is that
Mm.
people expect us to be bouncing off the walls all the time, but we're not. And actually a lot of the time, yes, we get our hyper moments where we are like running around like absolute lunatics,
Sometimes,
but
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of the time it's your brain that just doesn't stop.
Yeah, it's not stopping, but also like outwardly people, but it looks to outsiders like you have stopped.
Yeah,
Like sometimes, like you'd be, when you zone out,
yeah, yeah,
and people be like, "You're not listening." It's like, well, I am, but I'm also listening to what's going on in my head too.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like 17 conversations going on
yeah.
in there, and like,
And it's
it's like,
processing that audio as well, because it's something I've
mm,
literally discovered in the last few weeks is that yes, I've got mild hearing loss, but I've potentially got auditory processing disorder, and I'm like, okay, right. So basically, I can hear things sometimes, but my brain just doesn't want to process
that's
that
a proper
stuff.
bugger. That
And it's
is.
like apparently it's a thing very common with neurodiverse people with ADHD and autism and probably all sorts of the spectrum
Yeah,
conditions that are now linked with these conditions.
I do that. I
Yeah,
do have something similar. I don't think it may be quite as bad as you, but there's just occasions where someone will say something, I'll be like, "What?" And then they'll start repeating it, and I'm like, "Oh yeah," they
yeah.
know the answer.
But that's
And I'm like,
common with
just
everyone.
right, don't
Do you know
don't
what I mean?
don't keep
Like,
questioning anymore. Stop, 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 stop. I already know. Stop. And then they keep on answering the question. You're
yeah,
like,
yeah. It's an
Bit,
absolute nightmare, isn't it? Like, and I
can
think
be.
we live in a neurotypical world
Yes.
as neurodiverse people, and it's not an excuse to be different. Yeah, it's not an excuse to be a shitty person, is it? Do you know,
No,
what I mean?
definitely not.
Like, and
100% agree.
some of our things that come with ADHD and autism can come across to people as being shitty people. Um,
Yeah.
we are 100%
Yeah.
not. Like, I know that.
I can be.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we can all be at some
Yeah,
point
no,
in our
no,
lives,
no, I can be
but
unreasonable when I'm upset, and I
yeah,
know that. But
but
yeah,
it's yes, ADHD or autism is the reason,
yeah.
but it's not an excuse, is
No,
it?
no, no, totally.
Like,
You can still put your hands up and say you was wrong, or
yeah,
like
this is
that's what I
it.
mean.
Like, I
Like,
shouldn't have reacted like that. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, totally.
And we've got to try and fit ourselves into this neurotypical world. And we're both bringing up kids. I mean, I know like for sure
Crikey, yeah.
my son is going through assessment processes and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I don't know about Fred. I mean, do you think Fred's possibly on the spectrum and stuff like that, or
I would say so.
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't like to say we it has been discussed,
yeah,
in the family. Um, he exhibits signs of it,
yeah,
but the school and the doctors have said that basically he functions well enough
yeah,
that a formal assessment on the NHS would be no,
yeah,
no, he doesn't. They're
yeah,
basically saying he's not autistic enough.
yeah. But
He's
my
not neurodivergent enough.
yeah, yeah,
That because they have to
yeah,
and I
yeah,
understand that they have to put
yeah.
levels on it because quite frankly, like they can't treat.
Everyone.
They have to make rules. I get it.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
fair? No,
No,
absolutely not. But
but my point to that is more the fact of actually we're teaching young kids that actually, yeah, okay, it is perfectly normal for you as a neurodiverse person to feel this way,
yeah,
but as well, it's not an excuse for you to like hit people or do nasty things. Do you know what I mean? We've got to now try, yeah, because we were never understood like that as kids, were we? Do you know, it was like,
rarely.
yeah, you would it was never like gentle parenting of that age, was it? Like, do you know what I mean? Gentle parenting just wasn't a thing.
Just didn't exist.
Yeah,
No, it was
um,
tough
yeah,
cookie parent, and as well, like we grew up in relatively, I mean, contextually poor areas,
yeah,
or a poor area of the country, really,
yeah,
because all of Cornwall was relatively poor
yeah,
in
yeah.
comparison to some other parts of the country, right?
Hmm.
We grew up. I mean, I must say, I grew up quite poor. In all fairness,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, just that's the way it was, and
yeah,
you know that's stressful too.
yeah. And this is the thing. It's like now we're learning from that.
Yeah,
And the thing is, like, people might listen to this and go, "Oh, you blame your parents the way you brought up," but actually, it's not their fault because they learned from their parents who are actually
yeah.
even harder.
Nobody
Like,
knows. That's the thing.
and this
Yeah,
is the
I mean,
thing,
well, yeah.
you
Well,
know,
my grandparents were pretty hard on my parents. I know
yeah. So actually,
they had to be.
each generation is learning from each other. Do you know what I mean? There's still aspects of like my parents' parenting that I use. Do you know what I mean?
So
You know, and there's the aspects of the gentle therapeutic parenting that I've learned being a support worker with children.
it's a mixture.
You know, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Do you know what I mean? I still lose my shit every now and then. Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, with your
What
kids that are
what
like
parent doesn't?
5 and
5 and 7.
yeah, so it's like they're at that age where you're gonna
Oh
and
yeah,
you have to and I mean at least one of them was neurodivergent.
yeah.
Mary, I would like to say, but
No, yeah,
is that adds to it. But then as
yeah,
well, here's the thing that I just wanted to go back quickly. I'm
mm,
talking about Fred and me and
yeah,
Sid and Mary and us. Is that I do think though that like us knowing that we have ADHD, autism,
mm,
allows us to become better parents to children that are neurodivergent because like not this doesn't apply to every neurodivergent person, but I learned I over the course of my life I've done things wrong because I thought they were right, but
yeah,
then when I've learned that they're wrong, I put myself right and kept myself there as much as possible.
yeah,
Um, and so yeah, I think that being an autistic parent to an autistic child is probably the best. Like because
100%.
at the end of the day, there's no pill. There's no. I mean, if you've got ADHD, you might be able to get dextrose amphetamine, whatever they call it.
Yeah, basically.
But
Yeah.
but even then, that's like it's not a one size fits all solution.
No.
Um,
There was actually
there's just guide your children,
yeah.
your autistic children, in an autistic way
Yeah.
through a world that, like you say, isn't for autistic people. But quite frankly, this world isn't set up for anybody who's disabled because we're a minority.
Yeah.
And you know, it's unfair, but it's I think maybe my view on it's like maybe quite stoic or like conservative, and it's like the hand I have isn't fair. The amount of help that I don't get isn't fair. But that's what it is.
Yeah.
Head on.
Unfortunately,
and live, and get to that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And stay under it. If your glass ceiling won't let you through, but get up to it and fucking stay there.
Yeah.
Enjoy what you can.
Yeah.
Because
this is it.
Accepting that you don't have everything is accepting that, and as well, here's an interesting concept that I've been talking about in therapy. Right, is like accepting that you might not ever accept.
Yeah.
And think about that.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing.
Yeah. You
can accept that you might not ever accept something.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's easy.
No.
Or achievable in a lifetime. It's a concept that you can think of and work around and be like, it's a good way to frame things.
Yeah.
And framing things, I think, is always like you can take a set of information about your life and say, oh, actually, let's look at it this way. Let's look at it in a different way. Purpose things.
And this is the thing, you've got to look at these things in a certain way, haven't you? Especially when you're struggling with your mental health, it's really hard to look at things objectively.
Very.
But obviously it sounds like therapy's like been a good thing for you as well. Like
some
people don't like therapy, some people don't get on with therapy, but I think it's been a really helpful thing for you.
Therapist has unlocked, after the accident, I got paid out from the driver's insurance, and one of the first things I did was use the case management company to find me a reputable therapist who they thought I'd get along with. He's called Tim Salzman, and he's I've been working with him for about nearly 2 years now.
Wow, that's a long time, and you must build up a hell of a relationship in that time as well.
Massively,
and that's important.
He's one of the very few people in this. Actually, he is the only person on this planet who understands me. In my entirety. With the information I've given him.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
he knows a lot more about me than anybody.
Well, this is it.
But because it's impartial.
Yeah.
He's not there to necessarily like do or say anything, but just to kind of guide and go me through the process of it. I think it varies from person to person. It's like I know my mind really well.
Yeah.
I'm relatively self-aware. So for me, like therapy, it was about expressing myself and knowing that I can just do that.
Yeah.
And I can't affect any relationship negatively or positively. I think that's because in therapy you can get upset, you can get angry, you can get irate, you can cry, you can laugh, you can be happy still in your therapy.
Yeah.
You don't have to show up any given way or use it in any particular way. And I think there's a stigma around therapy.
Yeah.
Is that of course, when people, and here's the biggest thing, isn't it? It's like the mental health services in this country basically have made it so people are scared of therapy.
Yeah.
Because the therapy that we get for free in this country is, let's be honest, useless to most people.
Yeah. No, I mean,
because it is the shape of a jigsaw piece.
Yeah.
But everybody else is, they've got a square jigsaw piece, but some people might be circle.
Yeah.
Some people might be dodecahedron.
Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying?
It's
not the same. But that's the benefits of private therapy. That shit is expensive.
Yeah.
And
it's not available to everyone, is it? I mean,
no. That's the problem I have with it.
It's awesome that you've got that. I mean, like someone like myself,
I'm so lucky.
Like, Um, I can't afford private therapy. I've had talking therapies through the NHS,
Right.
and both times I've had it,
You didn't find it
no,
helpful.
I didn't find it
But,
helpful at all.
then that's the thing. It's like 2 sessions.
Yeah,
What's the point?
yeah.
Like, and I say that, with the greatest respect still for the NHS, because we're lucky to have
Oh,
it.
100%. Yeah, we are lucky to have
But
it. We're not
but
slating them.
no. But at the same time, like, the government budgets obviously need to be changed,
Yeah.
because 2 sessions isn't enough. Considering I mean, yeah, I have complex problems, fine, but I've had 2 years of therapy. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say that I've made I mean, broken off the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. And this is the thing. It's
I
like
could still sink the Titanic today.
yeah, and that's what we know. That's,
Yeah.
well, that's sort of what's underneath
That's what,
the
exactly.
water.
That's
Do you know what I mean?
That's what's
Yeah,
scary, isn't it?
yeah.
You're like, oh.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I like to think of myself as pretty self-aware most of the time.
You are. Yeah.
I have my moments when I'm not.
We all do.
But like, I do wonder sometimes how much is in there. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I think I deal with things better than I ever used to.
Definitely.
Um,
I know that for sure.
I mean, the amount of times I used to drink my way through depression, um, and it would be like the answer was at the bottom of the bottle.
I've seen those
Like,
mistakes. And like, back around the time when Tane played at the Dragon a few times.
yeah,
That was like coming towards the end of your marriage was I was worried about you then.
yeah,
I was keeping an eye on you.
yeah,
It was like, I mean, I had my own. I think I might have been going through divorce pretty much, or like separation, just that.
just
I
before
was just
then.
before, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's like,
yeah,
what, 2021 or something.
yeah,
So 3 years later.
yeah,
Oh no, I was already out of it. Yeah.
yeah,
But it's still like, that was something as well, wasn't it? Blimey.
yeah,
Like that's a big life event
yeah.
that,
And I tell you
I've
what,
been through.
um,
That sucked.
I think it's one of those things sometimes actually when and a lot of people don't get this when they come out of their marriages and stuff. I've seen so much of it, like a lot of hatred.
Yeah,
And
right, yeah.
I know me and my ex-wife, we've had our issues,
Yeah.
but I think like the main one was like her dad kicked our asses, and was like, "You need to get on for the sake of the kids."
Yeah.
And we did, and do you know what? He was right.
Yeah, fair play to him.
And do you know what?
Yeah.
We both make a real effort now to get on, like to be friendly, and work together. Because actually, at the end of the day, we're both parents. We want to do what's best for our kids. So actually, that is that would be my advice to anyone. Like I know some marriages end really messy.
Yeah.
But always just do what's best. Do as much as you can to be like the best people for your kids.
Yeah.
Even if it's not all the time, just don't show them like. But I think like as a big thing for like what the journey that I've seen of like my experience as well. Like, it's not good for your mental health when you are fighting like cat and dog. Like, it made me feel awful.
Yeah.
Since
hellish.
Yeah, and since we've now been grown up about we're grown up about things, we get on, and actually we get onto like a friends level in a way. We can go out and do things, as a family. When it's the kids' birthdays, we can do parties together. We can go for a day out together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not, like the first couple of times it wasn't easy, but how much did the kids love it? They loved it a lot.
It's all for the kids.
Yeah.
It's all for, and even if that's always what it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's just important, and I think I have a similar relationship with my ex-wife in that we haven't ever had a fight since our separation.
Yeah.
And we both said that we're not interested in using kids as leverage, child as leverage, because it's just not. I mean, quite frankly, I love the boy more than I love anything. So
yeah,
using him as a pawn in a game of chess is, I'm too old for that. You know,
Yeah.
personally, like I feel personally like I'm too mature to bother with that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's I don't try not to. You know,
No, and unfortunately,
yeah,
it does happen. It
yeah,
does
no,
happen a lot.
like
You know, I
I
see
try and
lots of
avoid
lots of
upsetting.
cases of it,
Yeah,
but I think from a personal standpoint, if you can ever do the best to get on, then
yeah,
and I've learned that lesson after the fact. Don't get me wrong, like
you know,
you know, as I've said, it took a kick up the backside first,
right,
um, but actually it works, and this is where I think things, I think just genuinely, like as people, like we need to be better. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I'm not saying that from a man's point of view or a woman's point of view.
no.
People just need to be better. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I
You
agree, we
know?
all do. It's a motto that was it Frank Tono?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Was it no?
No,
Oh
I don't
God.
think it was right. Yeah, he did write a song, "Get Better." That was a really cool song. I love that.
Oh, I'm thinking of something else. I'm
Um,
turning into me nanny.
Joey Swole.
Oh, that's it, Joey
Yeah,
Swallow.
Joey Swole. I
Do
think.
better.
Yeah, just do better. And I'll tell you what, it's
Yeah,
true though. Like as
yeah, no,
people,
he's
we just
right.
need to.
Especially in the gym as well, Chris.
Oh God, gym etiquette and like being a good person at the gym just seems to be like a real hard thing for people.
Nothing. People
um,
don't even spray down the bench no more. You
no.
got to, it's like a sweat patch where they've been laying their head.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
I was laid down anyway.
Well, I'm gonna shower afterwards.
You,
Hopefully.
you can't, you can't kill me. That's
Well,
what
this is
I
the
just
thing.
will
Someone's
not.
tried already,
Yeah, no,
and it didn't work.
it's one of them, isn't it? It's like freaking. It's the irony of life, you know.
Yeah.
I want to be alive. I want to be alive.
No,
Funny.
this is it. But this is the thing, isn't it? Like you've come through a situation that probably should have killed you.
Yeah, it would. I would imagine, right? It would have killed like 99% of people.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, like it probably came about as close as you would like to killing me.
And
it did,
and
it's
probably
like
at that time
just survived by
you
straight
weren't
good luck.
like you were probably at that sort of stage in your life where you probably, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you weren't suicidal, but if someone had gone to you, yeah, you're gonna die tomorrow, you'd be like,
You know,
yeah,
you're exactly right. I'm still like that person. Like to tell you the truth.
yeah,
Like if someone was to say, "Oh, you're gonna die like in a couple of months' time," I'd probably just be like, "Cool, all right." And I know
yeah,
that's horrible. I
yeah,
know that's not right. And the point I'm gonna make is like that's the way I know that I'm feeling.
yeah,
I know, but I also know that it's not actually reality.
yeah,
Like my brain's just like my brain has problems, and it's saying that.
yeah, yeah,
Like, of course, I want to live. You know, I've got friends, I've got family who,
yeah,
you know, who will be devastated if,
yeah,
you know, I left this astral plane.
yeah,
But also, I believe that I have no control over that,
yeah,
as evidenced by my accident.
yeah,
Because quite frankly, you know, if I was going to die that night, if that was my designated day to die, then I would have died.
yeah,
That's just. I have funny. I had a funny relationship with death before the accident anyway. Is that
yeah,
I've always relatively not been scared of dying as much as just been like rather not
yeah, yeah,
up until recent years. You know, I've just been like I'd rather not die.
yeah.
It would be inconvenient for my family and maybe for me as a spirit.
And
you know, otherwise.
but this is the thing.
Like,
I mean,
you know,
I
it
think,
comes to us all. We all die. We're all born and we all die.
but I think what you said there perfectly emulates what I would say as well. It's like I'd be more worried about like the people that I've left behind.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not worried about myself.
No.
Like,
I believe the spirit carries on after
yeah,
this, like
yeah,
and does other things. So
yeah,
you know, personally for me, I'm happy.
yeah.
In that
It's
sense,
the thought of like your kids,
yeah,
your
kids,
partner,
but it's the work.
like yeah,
I couldn't imagine.
yeah. No, I couldn't
Don't-
imagine not being here
don't
for my
think
kids
about it.
anymore, and that's normally one of the things that keeps me out of that
Yeah, yeah.
suicidal thoughts thing. And
probably
don't get me
happens
wrong,
quite
I've had those.
Yeah.
You know, um, I've been kicked up the arse. I've talked about it, I think, in episode 1 of the podcast. Like
Yeah.
my sister kicked me up the arse a couple of times to really get me out of those situations where I've been like, I just want to go. And sometimes when you're in that situation, you don't think about the effect on everyone else. But that's the
it,
thing.
yeah.
I don't try and guilt myself, but it's like, the kids. You want to be around for the kids.
Yeah.
I do the same with self harm as well.
Right.
You know, I don't want my kids to see that. You know, I don't want the kids to see that I've cut myself or I've done things to hurt myself. Um, and you know what? You know, and I like to think that I can be an example to people that have been through it, and I'm nowhere near had like the worst experiences for self harm like some people have, but
Yeah.
I'm currently, I mean, as we talk, 11 months clean,
Nice.
like, and that's a big thing. Like, do you know
That's
what I mean?
wicked. Yeah.
And I will be 12 months clean next month. Do you know what I mean?
Excellent.
And
1 year.
yeah, like
1 year
that's
tokens
like
there.
a huge milestone.
Brilliant.
And but do you know what? Like in the last 6 weeks, I've had those thoughts of self harm. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not
Rightly so.
like,
I mean, in a sense.
yeah, yeah. And I'm not gonna lie about that. And that's been tough. That's been really hard.
Yeah.
But one of the things is like I sit there and I tell myself like, I don't want to disappoint people. I don't want my kids to see this. And part of that is like my experiences. You know, I think I'm an example these days to to people around me,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
actually I want to be better. I want to be better. It's for me. Like I want to be that example.
Yeah. I think,
Um,
I think there's,
yeah, yeah,
man, you are, and you've got a community of people that we mentioned earlier, that look up to you
yeah,
because you do that, which is important. And I think
100%.
a lot. The thing is, like, there are other people on TikTok who are mental health advocates, but and I don't know any names, so I'm not going to be like, this
Yeah,
person,
yeah,
and that person. But there's somewhere I'm just a bit like, just seems like you're doing that because you want the attention of
mm,
like being a mental health advocate, and I'm using inverted commas, but like there are people on the flip side who you can tell are real genuine. It's like you're not doing it because you particularly want the respect, but
yeah,
because it's an important thing to you.
yeah. This is the thing. I'll quite often say, like, I don't think the Pink Persuader and mental health is going to be a big podcast in the world, but if it reaches the right people, it reaches that person that's struggling at that time, and it makes someone feel better.
That's what's most
That
important.
that's what matters to me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Am I going to become a world famous influencer on TikTok? No, probably not. But
You never know.
that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
That really
But it
doesn't bother
shouldn't, I
me.
don't think. Should.
I'm in it to do what I do and help people.
Hmm.
The only thing that pushing my profile out there does for me, and this is why I do continue to push, is because I use it to fundraise and
Yeah.
raise awareness. That's the only reason I push and try and publicize my profile, is for the awareness and the financial gain it can give to the charities I support.
Yeah.
I mean, in a few months, for the half marathon, I use TikTok a lot, like for raising money for that.
Yeah.
I raised £1,600. £1,600.
Yeah.
Like, and that's
Like,
crazy. Like,
did that all go to man down?
that all went to man
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Every single bit.
That's
of it.
massive as well,
Like,
isn't it? Because
that's
it's not like you pay anything to go to them sessions.
no, 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 no. It's all free.
It's all,
Like, all the guys are volunteers.
Yeah.
Literally, the money, any money that's raised for Man Down goes into funding more meetings.
Yeah.
And funding awareness, basically. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully, I'm going to be talking to a few more guys from Man Down, who are actually volunteers. I've had some volunteers to come in,
Ideal.
which will be awesome. So I don't know when that's going to be yet, but so far we have done the longest episode of the Pink Persuader on mental health.
Whoa.
I knew this would probably happen. That's the time.
Whoa.
So we've been chatting for 58 minutes.
Oh, I mean, I could probably go for another 2.
I'll tell you what, honestly, I'll tell you what, mate. I think actually, I would love to have you back. Like we just this open chat, like it has been awesome. Like, and to be able to sit and speak so candidly with a best friend is awesome. Like, we've got that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
But like, before we sign off for this, what would be your message to someone out there that's maybe struggling?
probably just say, remember what I said. You know, you can reframe things. You can look at things differently. You can. Is And the thing is, it's not that that's easy, but you've got to remember that everything's doable if you can think it.
Yeah.
Like if you can think of a way to do it, you can think of ways to be happier. Then you can be. It's just, you know, a lot of it just I think just comes down to remembering that a lot of it's in your head. I know that sounds really like, of course.
Yeah.
And, but it's like I said, you know, I know that not wanting to be here is how I feel, not actually what I want.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes being able to decipher between those things like can help. So yeah, if anyone's struggling, reach out to your best friend, reach out to your brother, reach out to your mum, reach out to whoever's there. Samaritans as well. Samaritans is always a good one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, anything you can do to avoid feeling alone, sad, you know, all those things. There's always options in other people.
Yeah.
Even if you don't feel like it, like you can always explain to someone else that.
Yeah.
That those.
And sometimes it's not even explaining; it's just having someone else there, isn't it? Like an
actually nod and say, oh, that's shit.
Yeah.
You know that, and if you know someone who can do that for you happily, then you know leaning on them is probably my best advice.
Yeah.
But like I said, if there's anyone out there who can kind of like think, oh yeah, reframe how I'm feeling, then I think that's the best thing.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks, Dan. And I think like your aspects of this have been brilliant. This is why I want to talk to someone. You know, my idea is to talk to different people. Like, because actually, I don't know everything about mental health. I don't know what it's like to be an amputee. You know what I mean? It's and hopefully we're going to be able to talk to a lot of different people and carry on this podcast and help a lot of people. That's the whole aim of the game.
I want to watch it grow.
Yeah, I really hope it will, and I hope it will. I did a thing on TikTok the other day. I was like, I posted a video like, this is an open message to Jared Reddick. I would love you to come onto the Pink Persuader on mental health. God. I'm going to try and keep posting a few videos, see if I can get a response at least.
Please let me record it here.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, get in the studio, play on guitars, and play some more guitars. Come on, let's have a jam. Get out there, man.
It would probably have to be like a Zoom thing, but that would make my day. Like, you know, that's what I would be there. Do you know what I mean? That's me reaching the pinnacle of where I want to be.
Take out loads of pain,
But
you heard it, Jared. Okay.
But no, for the time being, you know, having my friends and fellow mental health sufferers come and do this podcast with me, that's enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, I thoroughly enjoy this. We've done an hour of recording, and it's just been us. Like, this is not going to be edited at all. This is just conversation between friends, and going to be listened to by other people. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is going to be background noise. There's going to be things that, there's going to be laughs. There's going to be times we talk over each other because we've got people with ADHD and we talk over each other. But I'll tell you what I haven't done this time.
What's that?
I haven't messed up my words. Like, normally, there in both episodes so far on the podcast, there's a moment where I've messed up my words, but I leave it in there because actually it happens all the time. It happens when I'm talking most of the time.
Pretty sure I did it at some point.
Yeah.
During this episode, it's fine.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
Well, this is it. You know, and I think the most important thing is this is natural conversation.
Yeah.
And this is what I think is the most helpful, real thing. Yeah. But Dan, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
It's really been great to do this. And as always, guys, I want to say much love and be more kind. And also, stay pink and stay positive.